mode 12 years ago and now finally released on Steam like an Internet Explorer virus, Granblue Fantasy. Now, many have heard of spin-offs such as Granblue Relink or Granblue Versus. In fact, they're really good games, but many haven't seen the progenitor. This game was originally a browser gacha game. Yes, it's like playing Happy Wheels or a Newgrounds Flash game, except it's from Japan and
favorite browser game back in my days
it takes place in a fantasy world of magic and technology where you travel around the world in an airship with a group of homies. It's hard to believe this browser game has created a dynasty of spin-offs and turning side games into a renowned company from Japan. This game is from the primordial soup of gacha games, so ancient that it actually has influenced every game of this kind even to today. In fact, we should all be thankful to them due to the Monkey Gate incident. How would you feel about spending $6,000 and not getting what you wanted in a game? Well, 10 years ago, Granblue released a triple rate-up banner. This means that out of all the possible characters people could roll, 3 total characters had a much higher
I can literally recognize her from this silhouette, by the way. I think this was probably one of the most impactful moments in gacha history because this little buckle essentially created a pity system. So to a certain extent, bro should be worshipped in every single gacha game in the history of all gacha games.
Chance to be pulled. These characters were Eustace, Beatrix, and the limited character Andera, otherwise known as the Monkey King, descendant of Wukong. Yes, the Monkey King is now a small girl. Thanks, Japan. Now, having 3 characters at the same time by today's standards is crazy greed and anti-consumer. But back in the days of yore, players had to deal with even worse practices on the regular. Now, when you see multiple characters having an extra chance to be pulled, you'd expect them to all have the same chances. Well, everyone at the time thought so as well, and everyone wanted the Monkey King. Famously, one player spent $6,000 to try for the monkey without getting a single copy. This sparked an uproar in the community because statistically, it was near impossible that you wouldn't have obtained them if they were the same rate, and even though this wasn't illegal at the time, it was really scummy. Well, it turns out the odds of getting the other 2 characters was 10 times the odds of the Monkey King. Basically, Cygames just didn't want anyone to get this character. This actually eventually led to a new law being created that games must display the rates of pulling every specific character. This incident laid the groundwork for all future games to be slightly more consumer friendly, probably affecting some games you've played. So thank you, Granblue players, for tanking this. Before we continue, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. And I'll be making more videos like this one, or go to twitch.tv/Jenazad as I stream daily. You might think all that talk about scummy practices.
Bro, I cannot take this fucking YouTube Jenazad seriously. He sounds so like friendly. Like he sounds so like positive, right? Like it's like if you were to enter bro stream, you wouldn't think him like he's just been saying the craziest fucking shit on stream, bro. So and I don't want to know anybody.
But that's
it's like
just
his
the tip of the
YouTube
iceberg.
persona.
Now let's finally talk about the game from a new player perspective. It's shit. Okay, well, not exactly, but when you first start, it feels like one of the worst games you've ever seen. I want you to look at this screen and tell me what the hell is going on. It looks like a McDonald's ordering kiosk. Plays like one too, actually, except it's way more laggy. And the entire time, you're listening to a 10-second loop of music. You have a panel on the left of stats, you have buttons all over the middle section of the screen under events, and they even scroll downwards to more buttons. I counted all of them, and it comes out to a grand total of 30 buttons. Then you have a menu button at the top leading to more buttons you have to scroll down for. It took me 3 days to find the costume shop for characters. Then on the right panel you have a section with news and options. To me, this looks like a total ugly mess. Yes, this game's greatest enemy is itself. This game has the worst UI and quality of life of any game I've ever played. It doesn't want you to play it. The amount of menus and screens inside of one another leads you down an endless rabbit hole of clicking buttons to find anything. Veteran players actually bookmark certain pages to skip load time since it's a browser game. Every time you click anything, it has to ping all the way in Japan. So if you live there, it's fast. Anywhere else, and the delay makes this half of the gameplay. Oh, This mission needs me to switch my character's class? I want you to see the number of clicks that happen on screen to do this. Is this not the most cumbersome system you've ever seen? Now, I could click auto, but if I do that, it can change my entire team and weapon setup, which would take approximately 100 menu clicks and load times to remap if I don't have the setup saved. As a new player, this is completely overwhelming. Unless you're insanely interested in the game, will instantly chase you away. The funny part is, the community also seems to be really supportive and wanting to get new players. They have entire guides and a wiki to aid new players, but the game gatekeeps you. A wiki contributor and content creator named DYDK even updated a tier list right then and there to help me understand which out of the 1,000 characters I should get. Essentially, you're standing on one side of a giant gate, and on the other side are the veteran players, all of who are probably above the age of 40 at this point. Come on, man, join us. We'd love to have you. Yeah.
I don't even think he's lying because, like, back in my days, right? Like, for GBF, I know, like, the elitists are usually grouped in their communities in Guild War. So Guild War is, like, the end all be on GBF. And, like, it's actually, like, a full, almost like okay, not really a full-time job, but it's, like, a part-time job. Where, like, you had to be literally, like, committed, like, by the entire weekend to log a fucking Guild War. So they had to, like, track your individual hits on who you're gonna be hit and what you're gonna be using, and then they'll update their individual spreadsheets to the Guild War document if you're gonna be going for rank 1. Like, you can't even, like, outwield others because the other wills are doing the exact same thing as well. So that was, like, the craziest.
Come play Granblue with us. And as you try to get to the other side of the gate, the guard hits you with a Rubik's Cube and 10 slider puzzles before you even get to understand what's going on with the game. So you just end up quitting because who wants to spend that much effort? People think Path of Exile gatekeeps players with its massive skill tree and other extensive mechanics, but this game's UI is so bad, it actually makes me beg for Path of Exile 1.0 level of quality of life. It feels like a punishment created just to harm the user. And the craziest part, this is actually with a UI update in the past.
Damn.
Wait, how do I? Oh yeah, shop. Dude, I am not exaggerating, guys. If someone said, like, if you took me to the main menu and said, okay, go buy skins, I don't think I would ever find out how to do it. You have to go into the menu here and then open shop and then go to outfits at the bottom. I don't think I would ever do it. Like, it would never cross my mind. It would be impossible to find it. Actually, this game is really free to play because you can't find the shop. Next, let's talk about... Oh, damn it. Sorry, give me a second. I can't progress anything on screen until I click these tutorials. There's so many of these in the game, and as you go through the tabs just trying to understand what's even available, you get hit constantly by knowledge bombs of how 20 different mechanics work. How am I supposed to learn and remember all this when I'm being waterboarded with different mechanics non-stop? Well, it turns out there's this really helpful button if you scroll down the list of 30 buttons called the Knick-Knack Academy. Doing these missions can get you a lot of starting items for your grid. Now, what's a grid, you might ask?
Okay, wait, I just wanna, like, if you think about it, right, I think that is a common problem that a lot of, like, older gacha game face, where they don't really focus so much on new player acquisition. And they really, like, make it a lot more of a priority for their current existing player base. So instead of bringing in new players to the community, it's like they make there to be more ways for the veterans to whale more for as part of, like, their operating expense. Because if they were to do the opposite, the whales might not feel happy because you always have this, like, very balanced line between, oh, you're, like, not treating the veterans right, or, like, oh, you're, like, giving away, like, too little things for the new players. And I think a lot of older gacha games, they have this issue because they will make their game, like, a lot of depth, which I think older gacha players will like, because more depth means more gameplay for someone that already played those games for a long time. I think to a certain extent, Brown does too, right now. It's kind of like somewhere between Epic 7, but I would say, like, a little bit more difficult to learn than Epic 7. It's not a very, very new player-friendly game because their entire system is super different from, like, a traditional gacha. Like, you don't pull for units, you pull for, like, skins. But the skins are things you give to your units. And then you also have to manage your weapons while there being, I think, like, a lot of, like, different endgame content. And because there are, like, so many units in Brown 2, it gets very, very difficult to find out, like, how do you actually make an account to play from scratch? So like when I was trying out Brown House 2 for the first time, that was definitely like a learning curve I had to get through, which took me a lot of time, bro. Like if I didn't have the help from like CN Bilibili like guy makers, I don't think I could have like figured out a lot of these things as fast as I would like to compared to this current moment. And I think GBF is probably just like the way more extreme moment. I mean, if you want to play Brown House to the Goon, sure, right? You could just play Brown House to the Goon. It's completely fine. But like for me, I just feel way more interested and involved in the game if I can actually get behind like the gameplay. Because like the gooning is more like like if I were to treat gacha games as like a girl, right? I mean, this is not like sex or whatever, but like first impressions, they matter a lot. Right? Like you can't say that you only care about like the personality of a person and you don't care about looks. Or at least to me, right? I feel like having that first impression as a acceptable quality is like the first step towards you wanting to know more about the game. So Brown Dust 2's first impression for me is like, okay, you know what? This is a big Gooner game. And it has like some like turn-based combat. And it is something I've never tried before. So that was my first impression. And then my second impression is after you get by into the core mechanics of what this game actually has to offer. So that is where the gooning part and everything else is like, it fades away. Which is what will make me decide if I want to stay with the game or not want to stay with the game, right? So anyways, I'll bet
and weapons into these slots with one equipped on the left side. Well, as a new player, you have no idea what any of this means, but you apparently want high stats and special skills on them. Oh, did I forget to mention?
I would love to be a guy for Brown House 2, but I want to like progress
None of these things were apparent to me as a new player, and without others' help, I'd only hit the auto button on every menu and call it
I think I can get by like the early
game
pretty.
Let me also address the elephant in the room. What's the point of the Steam release? Because as far as I can tell, it's literally only a burden. You already can play the game in browser worldwide, but you can't sign in with your accounts on Steam, new players only. They said they'll allow you to log in eventually, but what about me? I have no login, so I can't connect outside of Steam now. Also, did you know the Steam version is literally just a web browser? People have actually accessed it with a URL. A couple of days ago, I tried to log in, but it was down for maintenance. But not on the browser version, only Steam for about 6 hours. Also, players can purchase packs in-game cheaper on the browser using Japanese sites, but not on Steam. Gaben wants his new yacht after all. On release, many couldn't even play the game because it gave issues trying to make an account. It took me an hour of brute forcing making a new account to get in. Also, they've done many collab characters over the years, but none are even referenced in the Steam edition, possibly due to licensing issues. Next, let's talk about the story. It's considered to be one of the strongest points of the Granblue universe, with a great cast of characters that persist and travel along with you. They have a vast world of races and people, and I skipped it all. My bad. I wanted to get ahead in the game, and they allowed me to skip 12 years of story. They actually include the option to skip all of it. I legit, in the span of about 20 minutes, skipped over a decade of story, and I'm currently chilling in heaven or something. This game is based as hell.
Bro, that is gonna be Genshin in like 6 years from now, by the way. Oh wait, no, 4 years from now.
I've heard great things about the world and characters, but I'm not really a story guy in gachas. Sorry. I skipped 12 years of story content and somehow beat a dude named The World while fighting in space where he created a universe-ending Big Bang, obliterating the entire field with my units, and I still won within 2 hours of installing the game. That'd be like if you went from episode 1 of One Piece and skipped to him fighting Kaido with no context on who he even is. Let me also say, it's nice to have a gacha game that has male characters that are actual chads. None of these K-pop looking soy boys, but actual men who kill gods with their fists and weapons and look the part. I generally pull female characters because the male characters never appeal to me, but it's nice to see male characters that are actually cool enough to want to get.
Okay, you know what? Another day, another 500 glaze to go real, because in my day, is gonna be one of those buggles over there, you know what I'm saying? So
the art of this game is great. Now let's look at the combat. And honestly, I still don't fully grasp it. So you have the main character and 3 others on the field with 2 in reserve. Everyone can have 3 skills like buffs or attacks and use them before you do your basic attacks for the turn. Afterwards, the enemy attacks. Overall, it's fairly simple, but obviously as you get to later fights, it gets complicated playing around the enemy mechanics. But if you're not doing those ones, you're basically just hitting the auto button and calling it a day. I can count on one one hand the number of fights I haven't autoed so far, and they were special challenge missions. However, even though the combat might not be spectacular, I still find it satisfying to see my characters just massacre every known god in the universe and giant mythical creatures and continually get stronger. One of this game's greatest strengths, in fact, is its progression, because it's endless. You can keep getting stronger, and there's like 10 different ways to progress, and you can do it forever. Longtime players call this game a job because of how much you can play. It's kind of nice to see a gacha where you aren't constantly waiting for the next patch. You always have a goal in mind. Getting stronger. For what, you may ask? This game has the most competitive Guild Wars scene around. Every couple of months, a guild event starts, and players will take time off work, say goodbye to their spouse and kids, and sit in a dark room while grinding for an entire day. They share Excel spreadsheets, optimize teams and rotations, and spam refresh runs to farm a boss for points to contribute to the guild. The higher the points, the better the guild rank, the better rewards.
Honestly, doing your real-time job as a part-time job,
so
that you can spend your money from a real-time job
for money.
to Granblue
While we're
Fantasy.
talking about money, let's
So
get
your
into
real-time
the
job
gacha
is a side
system really
quest,
quick,
and then there's your main
because
quest.
it's terrible. But I actually like pieces of it. Let me explain. It's a 3% chance to pull an SSR and 6% during certain banners. The pity uses a spark system, so after 300 pulls you can obtain the character you like. But on the way, you can pull random other SSRs with no 50-50 system. It also has no pity carryover. Now overall, it's pretty terrible and costs like $20 for a 10 pull. But the fun part is when you pull, you can actually get tons of off-banner characters you want, or dupes that are sometimes better than what you're even trying to pull for. If you actively play, you're able to get pretty much everyone you want, but you also need a lot of characters since you need to make teams for every
you have
element
1,000 characters anyways.
Starting out, I got like 100 free pulls, and during the events, they have this roulette wheel you can spin every day for a chance to get more free pulls every day, anywhere from 10 to 200 if you're lucky. We have evolved. It's a gacha to be able to gacha. Well, there's actually two choices on the wheel. There's
you got
the realist wheel if
crazy.
you're a loser and you consistently want 20 or 30 pulls guaranteed. And then there's the idealist if you're a badass and want to gamble like a man. Come on, baby. Give me those pulls. Come on, you're so close to those pulls. Come on, man. All in all, Granblue Fantasy is one of the grandfathers of gacha games. And while I appreciate a lot of the elements it has different from current day gacha games, it's also aged very poorly for a new player trying to get into the game. Veteran players still love their game, and it's understandable because once you're able to really get into this game, it has fun progression, characters, world, and community. The issue is it really needs a modern update.
If you think about it, right? I think a lot of like modern gacha games, they made it like super accessible to new players, which is essentially the biggest problem from like all of the older gacha games, because like the amount of depth, right? The end game content for modern gacha games, it is a lot less competitive, right? They pretty much remove all the PvP, so you don't really feel like a leaderboard pressure. Like if you were to start a game later, right? You are not competing with anyone else. It is just against that current endgame PvE. And then if you were to go up against the current endgame PvE, okay, at least from what I think, God Real, right? Okay, like for example, God Real, and I guess to like even like a certain extent, like Zenless, Wuthering, Genshin, Wuthering Waves, Our Knight's Envil, like all of these are more recent gacha games. They make the rate up unit be corresponding to the endgame environment. So even if you are a new player, you will not face a much higher difficulty to clear, since you will have access to that rate up unit, which is gonna be catered towards by the endgame environment right now. So no matter when you actually start playing like mainstream gacha games, whether is it last time or now, there is a way easier learning curve compared to like all of these older games where you not only had to like pick between these like thousands, okay, maybe thousands is a little bit extreme, but like a lot of different units, while also trying to remain competitive with other players at the same time, right? So I think modern gacha games have definitely like
and the
taken a more
craziest
chill
part is
step.
it's already had an update before. It used to be
people
even
literally just
worse.
don't hear Wildfire because just one shot.
Doing, Japan? I'm gonna keep playing this game for now, and who knows? Maybe I'll get really attached, as their other games are great, and I intend to soon delve into Granblue Relink as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks a bunch for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I love being a react slobber on cable. This is very, very nice. Thank you, Jenazad. Yo, chat, what else should we watch, guys? Yo, chat, what else should we watch for our react stop? Because I am just spam clearing story in Brown House too, because there's really nothing too much to be thinking about anyways. What else should we watch? I think I will probably wrap it up at like 1 a.m. I think 1 a.m. is a pretty good time. This has been a very nice little chill stream. You have cooled your last cool, my man.